In the Citizens United decision, the Supreme Court removed limits on corporate spending on election campaigns. Number one, how are you responding to this in your campaign for Congress? And number two, what are your thoughts on this decision, good or bad?
Well, first of all, trust me, I'm not benefiting from corporate donations. Most of this expense for running this campaign is coming out of my own pocket. But I think when you're talking about issues of free speech, I think that it's always good to allow people to participate across the board. I think that opening up and allowing corporations to donate money, if it's done in a responsible manner, is okay. I think when you limit corporations from being able to donate but do nothing to restrict unions from donating, what you have is you set up an imbalance between the political parties. I think when you look at it across the board, it's not Republicans or conservatives that benefit most or only from corporate investments. Corporations really don't have necessarily a political identity. They are willing to donate to whoever they think is going to benefit their interests. And what happens is the people have to hold corporations accountable. We think that corporations have souls. They don't. Corporations are money-making entities, and people have to ensure fiscal responsibility and to make sure they're not using that ability to donate to political campaigns in an irresponsible manner. But if we limit corporations, we should equally be limiting unions on who they can donate to and how much they can donate. Is it fair for a union to collect dues and make a determination that they're going to send the majority of their money to the Democratic Party, or let's say it was the Republican Party, if it did not reflect the views of their members? These members, in a lot of cases, are being held hostage. Their money is being taken from them and used for in an irresponsible manner. I say if it's fair for the unions, it should be fair for the corporations as well.
Citizens United was a disastrous decision. It was an example of very smart people reaching a very dumb conclusion based on being, I think, in an ivory tower instead of on the ground. I don't meet people very often who say, we just need more corporate influence in our democracy. And, Washington, as you noted, is broken. And one of the biggest reasons it's broken is because of the way that people finance campaigns and the amount. And it was bad enough when politicians were thinking about, wow, this vote might cost me a $50,000 fundraiser, or cost you this or that. Now these guys are writing $1 million checks, $50 million checks. Y'all have all had to sit through $1.3 million of negative ads about me, paid for by the insurance companies, by the coal companies, by the oil companies. We've gotten most of them taken down for being verifiably false, but then they just go up the next day with a new one. This is not promoting our democracy. And where I come from, if you have a position, you're willing to put your name on it, you're willing to stand up. And just like you shouldn't skip a debate to make the case to the voters, if you're wanting to put up an ad, you should say at the end who the heck you are. This is just the minimum standard of decency in an election. And be willing to stand by that. That's what the Disclose Act was about, which I fought for and supported. I think that's the bare minimum to get us back to where we were. So I think that the level of corruption we see is related to the fact that I think both parties are increasingly responsive to Wall Street and not Main Street. And I think areas like Southern Virginia pay the price for that. Republicans talk a good game, Democrats talk a good game, but when the bailouts come, when they came under, before I got up there in 2007, it wasn't running Main Street. It was Wall Street coming to Washington and saying, you will give us a bailout. It wasn't government going to Wall Street. Wall Street came to Washington, its friends of both parties, and said, you will bail us out. Then you get on a vicious cycle of the taxpayers' dollars being at play and everything else. That didn't come about because of a government takeover. This was still under President Bush, and it was because of the influence there. So I think this is one of the greatest threats to our democracy, but it's also one of the greatest threats to capitalism. Because what it's doing is it's rewarding what was successful 20 years ago, or rewarding who can write the biggest checks. When we know that 2 out of every 3 new jobs in our economy comes from a small business, we know that the innovation, the entrepreneurship is coming from small businesses, and they are getting choked out by exactly this sort of thing, and we need to fix it.